in order to create 10 MOWG profiles that use, guess what they're going to use? These for the project names. Up to 10. Okay, so it assumes that you're going to put in up to 10. But if a guy put in 100, we don't want to create 100 project files and run out 100 folders onto the website. So we only want up to 10. So it doesn't matter how big your menu winds up being. This is going to read from the menu actually. So when the menu does get updated, which is automated, it'll read from here and make different profiles. One for this, one for that, one for that. So then it's going to run out the file count you had set on the original profile. So if you had like 200, it'll run 200 for this, then 200 for that, 200 for that, 200 for that. So that would be 2,000 pages. Okay, and you could just go 100, 100, 100, 100. All right, but all of this is automated. I should not have to open the CSV file at all anymore. So what I do, I hit step 2, filled everything in, got my stuff right, and submit it. I'm not going to submit it now, or it's going to blank it all out. Okay. Now what do? I just hit this, and let me do one thing before I hit that. And again, if you had 32-bit installation, hit this one instead. Let me not run the batch files because it'll auto run them. Okay. Let me just show you what this thing does. WAP. Okay. Now it's done. Here's what it did. It took this thing and updated it. The menu generator is updated. See that? That's all the new stuff. Okay? It did that. And then what did it do? It moved it here because this profile here is set to work with it. All right? Then it created output. Guess what those are? That's the 32-bit version of the batch file that runs all the profiles out. That's that line I commented out. Well, the 64-bit version is the one I commented out. Guess what it has? It has the batch file command for each of the new profiles that got created now, and they all got put into a folder called MOWG-Autorun. So let me go see what that looks like. If I come back to System, got a shortcut link. WAP. Look at this. All of these are done, readable, so they were saved by the name of that particular project. And if I open one, I don't need to open one, but if I did, MOWG Autorun profiles, and again, if you were doing the 32-bit, it would be stored in a 32-bit folder so they don't get mixed and matched. Whatever. But take a look. Just open one. House Cleaning Company. It says so right here and right here. By the way, if your original profile, the one that it built all that stuff from, let me show you what it built it from. Inside System, it built it from this autocreate.pfl. Okay, so this is the basis of the run. Okay, if that was set for subdomains, and this thing was originally set for subdomain runs, that's perfect. Then it would have created house-cleaning-company.mowg-samples.com, and it would assign it that FTP path. Okay, so just make sure that if you do create subdomains like this on your website, that this folder name does match it exactly, because that's what it's doing. Okay, now I got the file count just set low to test it out and show you how it would act. Okay, but do you see what I mean? It created them all those profiles. They're all ready to go. That's 10 profiles. So we're going to wind up creating 10 different project folders on the website for this project, which is nice. That's lean and mean. Instead of dumping 2,000 pages or 4,000 or 5,000 into one folder, or necessarily even 1,000, you can micromanage it now and make them like 100 each and wind up with 1,000 pages, but they're spread out. 100 here, 100 there, 100 here, 100 there, 100 here, 100 there. Looks much better to Google. So lean and mean, okay? Very, very cool. So this menu generator auto-updated the var sheet, and this MOWG Autorun auto-created all of our profiles and batch files. By the way, in the MOWG Toolbar, there is now a new macro called Profile and Batch Generator. And it'll, when you have the var sheet open and you hit this, it asks you, what do you want the source profile to be that it builds from? And you tell it, like this one. You just browse and select it. and it says all right, and it makes all the versions based on the one you had. Okay, the only thumb rule to that, let me open this so you can see it, because this is wonderfully easy. And again, you don't have to use it, it's just automated now fully. Your whole run was done with just pressing one button. Okay, I'm getting used to this. Here's the only rule. This is ABC123. Therefore, ABC123. This is the magic name you use, whether you've got this on a top level domain or add-on domain, whether you're using this for the subdomain, so it would be abc123.mowg-samples.com, or like this for this project, mowg-samples.com/abc123. No caps, no spaces, no dashes, just lowercase abc123. And that is the variable that the auto run is going to use to create all the profiles based on the top 10 menu items, up to the top 10 menu items from your var sheet, because that's what it's going to read it from. And it's perfectly okay that it does this. Okay, so that's fine. All right, that's a good idea, and it does allow us to 100% automate the way this goes. And again, every one of these, you can still run them manually if you want. You can still create your own separate versions of this with your own project names if you want. You can still do all that. We didn't take away a single bit of functionality. We just added new functionality. Now, what is the final point? Think about it. Your file count needs to be cut down by like 10, right? Because if you're going to run, and what I would mean would be like this, okay? Because if you're going to run 10 of these out, then you don't want 2,000 pages times 10 would be 20,000 pages. You want like 200 pages times 10, maybe even just 100 times 10, okay? It depends on how many geo-target items versus how many keywords you have, whether you go further or not. Just depends, okay? And it'll be based exactly. Whatever change you make on this original, make sure this stuff is set up, because it will run the related V5 files up on its own. And by the way, I forgot to tell you, but you're going to like this. Remember how we put our image and our HTML right here, along with the var sheet we created with our step 2. Or if the guy sent you an email and gave you the var sheet and the image, you would just drag that var sheet into overwrite. It should have the same name because this is just set to look for that. And of course you can change the name of this and change it in the related files so that it's always using the right information. Just as long as it matches, it's going to work. Okay, those of you who know how to do that, you can do that. I mean, you can edit these things and change the names and stuff like that. So, and you can make copies to use for different websites at once. That's the idea, is you can expand this. Okay, and same thing here. You can expand these by making copies and having them reference the right sheets. Okay, and you can also do it with these. It just needs to know what to look for. Okay, and you can make copies and use them for multiple runs at once. You can do that. Now, having said that, how far does this go again? Oh yeah, move the image and the HTML file I wanted into the related V5 files for me. It put in my homewashing.png and my homewashing.html page here for me. So I didn't have to put them in there. I just put them in this working area, let them land wherever they may, just, alphabetically in the listing or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. They just land in here. But when I hit this thing, or this for 32-bit, then it will start by moving those related files, that image, and if there's a redirect HTML, that one too, and it moves it right in here. And when it runs, when you hit this button, it creates those profiles and it puts out those runs onto all those separate folders on your website, those 10, up to 10. Then it will upload those related files for you. So as long as you can drag the var sheet in here, drag the image in here, and it's done, you can hit this and walk away. And that's it. It will literally run the run out. Now, I'm going to run off because people got here, but if I just wanted to run it, all I do is take the commenting back out. If I don't want a line to run, I just do that, and it doesn't run. If I turn it back on, it'll run. What will it run? It will run that file. System output ZZZ stack dash 64 because I'm on 64-bit. Again, the other one's for 32-bit. Okay? Edit. That one's for 32-bit. Okay? But where are those? They got created into an output folder that wasn't there before but is there now. And that's these. And so what is being run? Exactly. All those profiles one after the next. It's not doing them concurrently, it's doing them one after the next, but it's micromanaging your runs, like 100 pages per profile or 200 per profile, whatever it is you say, even 50 per profile if you're just using like 10 keywords or something. Okay? And it'll run it completely on automatic. And so literally the future of runs is you open step 2, fill this out, submit it, and drag in any image you want. If you did not want to use an image, if you wanted to use our default, just put the default image file name in that we told you on the instructions. Best-provider. I think it's JPG. Then just hit the appropriate button, one of these. That's it. Walk away. The run is doing itself completely. Later you can submit sitemaps to Google Webmasters if you want. And if you want, you can open some of your pages and put particular backlinks to particular things on them if you feel like it. Now, that's all perfect. The only thing it does not do is create a front page for your website. Okay? And you still need to create a front page for your website, and we still taught that in all the instructions. And the instructions I have now are really, really nailed down well. And it tells you what videos to go watch for different things so you can understand those things better. So you won't miss out. I mean, all this stuff is really laid out well now with the written instructions in place. Just got to update them for the latest version now because we made it so much easier. You don't have to do half of this. But how to create a main page for your site, it's in here somewhere. All the stuff is in, or will be by the time we send it out. So that's the future of runs. When we were talking about you could do like $17 runs and just send the form to somebody, fine, send this. Just tell them, fill this out, bap, 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 bap. They're doing the work, and submit, and then just send that to you. And if they want an image, to include it. Just send this and the image to you. What do? You just take their copy and overwrite that one. You just drag it in and overwrite it. Take their image and put it right in here. And then you just hit that button. That's literally it to do their run. Less than 5 minutes. The only thing you might do is open this to make sure they actually did fill out all the fields like you told them to do. They need to fill out all the fields, right? And if they don't have an image, you might just check to make sure that the image itself, wherever that is, I'll find it in here somewhere. This is all different now. But wherever that image is, that it's the default image. I'll make sure to get it in the front so that we can see it by the time I'm done with this whole thing. Okay? Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, that like var 4000 is the default image if they did not include an image, and then just close it literally and hit that, and it does everything, including separating their run across 10 project folders, those being matched to the 10 10 max, but 10 menu items. All right, and the run is spread across all of this cleanly for you. Smarter, leaner, stronger, smarter, faster, more powerful MOWG system. And this is awesome. So yeah, we're finishing up the V5, should be done by the end of the week or so, and we're finishing up the 2.7 for release, and that should be happening maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day. That's how close we are to doing what we want to do. The only place to go from here is getting this to happen online, and that is not far off anymore, you know? And so really, anyone who says, is it hard? The answer is not anymore. Open this, fill out the form, submit it. Drag in any image if you wanted it, and hit this, and you're done. For people who say, well, what about making it work for my website? The answer is simply go into the system, open this, okay, in the system folder there, open this, and use your own website information here, and your own FTP path information there. And yes, we do have links to our videos that teach you how to do this. So you're going to be good to go. Subdomains, just do it that way. Just use ABC123 for the subdomain name and the folder name, right? Those two places. All right, and we have videos that teach you how to do subdomains, and creating add-ons, subdomains and add-ons, all that kind of thing. That was it. Once every 100 runs or so, hit this. All right, just to clear out your runs folder for you. And if you always use this, you can delete this. If you always use this, you can delete this, just so you don't hit the wrong button and get an error message saying, hey, it doesn't exist. All right, that's it though. That's how easy it is. Fill out the form, submit, drag in your image, redirect file if you have one, hit me. That's it. All right, guys, that's how powerful this is getting now. It's fully automated runs is right around the corner, really. And I hope you guys like it. It's going to be the V2.7. And again, the V5 is going to be updated for Google's new standards and with whole new content so that there are no 50 million pages like it already out there on the net. And so we're going to have that released probably by the end of the week. And then I'll be catching up everyone's runs, all you guys on the $297 a month and stuff like that, and the $997 for a year. I'll get all your runs caught up as soon as I get all those pages done and rip out all the old content from all the sites and put up all the new content on the sites. So that'll happen probably this coming weekend. Sorry for the delay, but when Google makes huge updates, it throws us for a loop. All we can do is shrug and play ball. Every SEO consultant and website developer right now out there, their phones are ringing, customers are calling, and many of them get a boon. They have a heyday. They get to charge extra money because guys say, hey, Google dropped my rank. The answer is yeah, Google made big changes. And they say, well, can you do it for free? Update all my pages. They say, of course not. You have to pay for the time if you want it done or do it yourself. And so usually SEO consultants, website developers get to make lots of money when Google makes big changes. Okay, except for clients that they just released to. Those are the ones that peeve them off, is when the new clients, they just finished their run and put it up, and then Google changes the rules right then and there. And the new client is justifiably either upset or wondering if they can fix it. And they have to do it for free because they promised to make it index, and then Google changed the rules. That's the thing that always peeves off the SEO guys. Is the timing on that. But for guys who, and they just have to do a double take and catch up all the pages and put it back on. But for guys who they did work 4 months ago, coming in saying, hey, I need to get updated, then they're like, woohoo, because they get to say, if you want to be updated, it'll cost you an extra $5,000. I got to go through all your pages and manually adjust them all. In the case of the UAP, for those of you that are waiting for us on this UAP, this comes out free. And so all the stuff that we're doing with the new template here and new templates that we wind up doing in the future, all this stuff is free. And all you have to do is, roll your thumbs, bide your time until we get it out into your hands. And for those of you guys who don't want to wait, then you can either create your own custom runs, or you can even try to take the V4 or the V3 and update it yourself. Yank out those Wikipedia links and Ask links. Go into the CSV file and change a bunch of those vars for people who are just wondering. You can change vars. You can change these from line to line to line. You can make this say different things. That's what needs to happen. The 50 million page max is because all these combinations have been used now, basically. The ones that have been filtered and indexed have been used. All right, and then also on the HTML page, right, you would change static terms, like especially those header words like experience. Change them into something that's for you. Kind of rewrite through all this content and kill those links to the Ask and the Wikipedia, which are down in here somewhere. Is it like this one right here? Get rid of this whole link that's here. Okay, that's what's changed. Used to work, no longer does. It's just the way it goes. Okay, those of you that don't want to do it because you don't know how to do this stuff, just wait. We're going to have that V5 out soon. In the meantime, if you want to prep in advance, hop on your control panel into your file manager, and you might even tear down your V3, V4 pages and your main page of your website just to prepare. We're going to have it out soon, or leave it there, especially if it's working. Some of you guys, you're finding it's working, especially oddly, some guys with the V4 runs, because we simplified it. We took out things like backlinks. Some of your runs are actually still doing incredibly well just the way they are, and you don't really need to change anything. But if you find that you lost a lot of pages, they got de-indexed, or you lost a lot of rank, that's what's up. We got to rip the old content out, put the new content in. For people who say, well, isn't my domain name tainted or something, like stained badly? The answer is, of course not. When Google realizes that you took the old stuff off and put the new stuff up, it will reevaluate from scratch. That's why you should never go buy domain names from GoDaddy with domains that are already done, that are getting a lot of traffic, and Google seems to like them and they're ranking for keywords. If you plan to yank the traffic or yank the pages off and put up new pages, because then Google has to start evaluating it all over again to see what you're doing with it now. Okay? So for guys who think that domain names are magical, they're not necessarily. Some domain names you might feel are magical. You know, if you could get websitemarketing.com or website-marketing.com or whatever, sure, why not? That's true, even if it costs extra money. Um, but if you're doing it, still realize that the rank isn't magical. If you rip the old content off and put the new content up, you're probably going to have a huge dip in rank and then grow back up to the top. Okay, just so you guys know, it's just the way that goes. All right, anyway, it is Monday the 22nd, and the 2.7 will be out hopefully tomorrow or the next day, like by Wednesday, and I'll be caught up hopefully with the V5 by, say, Friday or during the weekend. And so by next week, hopefully the weekend, I'll be ripping out all the old stuff from all the referral sites and putting up all the new stuff. And we'll be back on top of things, only this time now. Um, this is good. It's really, really good for MOWG whenever Google makes these big changes that gets rid of old cheating habits, because most people who got to rely on that stuff don't know how to rely, or well, they don't know what to do now without it, right? So they're like studying from scratch new techniques to understand what to do. And so they drop hard in rank and we get to rise because our SEO is good. Theirs was not. They did hidden backlinks and things and links to Wikipedia and Ask, which everyone did. But their SEO is probably not good. Their websites are not large. A lot of things are wrong with them. Now they have to do stuff right. MOWG's built any way you want. And so we can do stuff as right as Google wants all the time. We just have to know what Google wants. That's the trick, is sometimes you have to try this, try that. And then when you see the answer, you go, aha. But because we can do 1,000 tests at once, it's really easy for us to find the answers out and then tell everyone what to do. All right. So right now, our V5 will be coming out hopefully by the end of the week. The 297 a month runs, 997 a year runs, all that stuff hopefully will be caught up this weekend, this coming weekend. And V5 hopefully you'll be out by Wednesday. All right, guys. For guys who were asking, what about the guys who've had licenses for over a year? Since the first time we're enforcing the year update on the licenses with the re-app fee, we'll get that stuff finalized. But some guys asked, hey, what about those of us who are happy with the 2.6? Can we keep that? The answer is yes, you can. Your license won't kick off after a year. You still get to keep the latest copy you got to keep from the time you paid, without being required something new like a re-app fee. So you're good up through the 2.6, no matter what. And then after that, you get free updates for a year from the time of your purchase. And then there will be a re-app fee, small re-app fee. It won't be like having to buy a new license again. And if you can't pay the re-app fee all at once, whatever it is when we decide it, then just simply hop back on the rent to own, because you get access to the latest, greatest version of the system on the rent to own, and you can pay it off that way and just choose to pay the balance whenever you want. What's the next step going to be? Past the 2.7? The 2.8? What's that going to be all about? Well, probably catching up the little things people are asking about. Can we create our own name for the MOWG-sitemap.html? So I want to put that into the profile so people can actually come up with their own names, so they just don't have to worry about it. And you shouldn't. You don't need to worry about it. Google could care less what the name of the sitemap is. But for people who have been asking, can I just create my own? You can do it manually now, which is tricky. You always have to rename it back to MOWG-sitemap.html before you do any run. But then you can rename it back to whatever name you want to call it. Just make sure that when you do your runs, right? When you do your runs, your index page that has the link to the MOWG sitemap, it doesn't say MOWG sitemap in here. You got to update that, right, to whatever name you want to call it. acme-sitemap.html. It's just that before you do any new runs, you need to rename it back. So don't do any of this until you rename it back first. And then we're going to see about moving this whole thing online so that runs can be done online, completely on automation. Okay, hope you enjoyed the updates, and I'll chat with you later. Have a good one.